That should do it. Okay. Get the wheel spanner. Just making sure handbrake's on. Now, the other very important thing is before you take off the tire, you actually place the other tire underneath to make sure if the jack slips, the whole car doesn't fall on your legs while you're working there. But anyway, it sounds like Tristan's found some signal.
Now, we've had to try and reposition and find a better way to steer because unfortunately we've got no signal down in that drainage line. Don't know what happened. We had and all of a sudden it just disappeared. I have to go try and get a little forward for VM, although there's nothing we can really do from where we are. It's the only visual that we can get, and the little cub has dragged the scrub hair further away. It's gone deep into this thicket, and so unfortunately that's all we're going to have for now. It's just the back legs of Thandi and her tail. Hopefully though she'll kind of reposition herself and move slightly, and then we can kind of try and wangle our way somewhere where we can try and see a little bit better than what we've got right now. But unfortunately that's the best we can do at the moment. It was an epic sighting though. At least we had her walking down the road towards us with that scrub hair in her mouth. Absolutely amazing. So hopefully we'll be able to kind of figure something out somewhere along the line here, and we'll be able to give you guys a much better view than what we've got at the moment. But it's, for now, that's what we're going to have to wait for. There was a bit of a thicket down there as well, so it's not surprised that Wendy's not getting reception. The only one that really seems to be able to cope inside there is Rusty, and even then, now in the summer months with so much vegetation and thickets, it's very difficult for the signal to actually reach in there at all. Trust Thandi to go into a place like that. It seems to be a typical Thandi maneuver, although I don't blame her. It's the perfect place for her to kind of stash her cub. It's thick, it's dense, it's really difficult for anybody to actually get to her or anything to get to the cub, and so it makes sense for her as a mom to be able to do it like that, and that's why, you know, she's done really well to be able to get herself into this situation. So I'm glad for her, and I'm glad that she's got herself at least a bit of a meal, although Tlalamba just took it straight away and kind of walked off with it and dragged it into the thickets. Mina, no, leopards are random. They walk at any time, but prefer to be walking around at dusk and dawn. So they're crepuscular animals, which means that they come out at dawn and dusk and move around in the hours just after dusk or sunset and just before sunrise. And so that's their preferred time. But I've seen leopards walking in 40-degree heat, 30-degree heat. I've seen them walking around middle of the day, middle of the night. They're pretty random in the way that they go about it. It's whenever opportunity strikes, but generally you find around sunset and sunrise is their peak sort of activities, just before and just after those two, and a little bit kind of, you know, into the night as well. But for the most part, it's around the sort of sun coming up and down in the world, which is very good. Now, what I'm going to try and do is I'm just going to try and reposition ourselves a little bit, not to go down into the drainage, but just to try and get VM a little bit of a better view, because I can almost make out Thandi's head from where I am. So if I can straighten VM up, I think VM might be able to get a much better view of what's going on. So we're going to just try and kind of... I'm just hesitant to get too low, though, because I don't want a situation where we kind of lose signal again. So there we go. I know that there's a tree slap bang in the middle of her face and her body, but that's the best I can kind of do for now. So she's kind of down in the drainage, and it's going to be really tough to be able to kind of see much from up here. And it's one of those things where, you know, we're going to have to just be patient and hope wherever she moves that we can still maintain a view. And like I say, the cub is behind her at the moment. It's kind of moving around in the background there, and so hopefully she'll call. She has been kind of slowly murmuring and mumbling and trying to call her cub back out, and so hopefully the little one will come popping out and come and play with mom, and we'll get a better view. But you can see typical Thandi eyes, those ones that have fire in them, watching us from behind that tamboti tree. It's very typical of her as she moves around. She's kind of that way inclined, and that she'll kind of get her head in position. So, Giraffe, you say any sighting of these two is very, very special? Well, it is. It's always amazing to see these two, and we're very fortunate that we've been able to spend as much time as we have with them over the course of the past few months. Obviously, it's been a bit quiet in the last sort of 6 weeks since Hukamuri, or 6 to 8 weeks since Hukamuri has been spending so much more time on Djuma. But it's still nice that we've had them, and we've been able to get so many great moments from these two, and it's very special whenever we get to see them. So even though it is an obscured view, you're right, it is still special. It's still a leopard, and it's still one of those things that you kind of get super excited about. So, and you never know what's going to happen. It's seriously hot down in that drainage, though. We were in there, and there is absolutely no wind to speak of. It is humid inside there, and so I wonder if maybe she might just come up onto the bank just to get a bit of a breeze. It's much cooler up on this bank at the moment. The thing is, though, she won't walk far from her cub while the cub is feeding, because obviously she needs to protect it. But you see, she's just giving a little soft contact call there, so hopefully the little one will come bounding along and join mom up on, well, in a little bit more of the open area. But it dragged the scrub hair all the way across that drainage line into the thicket, so it's already just like mom in that it knows where to drag carcasses in order to hide them and stash them away and kind of keep them sort of hidden from sight. The interesting thing, though, is that you can see that this cub is more nervous than what it was a few weeks ago, and that's because it's just had so much less time with vehicles over the past 2 months. The first few months it was really kind of relaxed because there was a lot of cars around, and we kind of got into it, and she was starting to get used to us, and then she's kind of disappeared and had very few sightings of her, and that's meant that she's a little more kind of nervous, or not nervous, but she's nervy. She kind of sees the car and she's not sure, and then she'll trot a little bit, and then she'll be like, oh, actually, hang on a second, why am I trotting? And then she stops, and then she comes walking towards the car, and she watched us for quite a while, and then kind of moved off and kind of moved back towards the little scrub here and did her own thing. So very much a personality, and it's amazing how she dominated that scrub here. As soon as Thandi arrived and dropped it, she was onto it like a flash and took it for herself and then walked off with it. So I think she's going to be a situation where she's going to feed off it quite a lot. Tanya, the cub might want to try and still nurse, but essentially no. If you look at Thandi, around her back legs, it's really difficult because of the way the branch is lying, but she's not really producing much milk anymore. Her stomach is much thinner. She's not got these teats that are exposed from suckling, so I'm sure that little one is starting to be weaned off now. It's normally around 6 to 8 months that they start to get weaned, and so it's probably enjoying meat far more than it's enjoying mom's milk. It's not to say that it won't go for mom's milk every now and then. It will try, but I'm pretty sure Thandi is essentially trying to wean it as quick as possible and try and make sure that it's kind of kept off and off the teats and is now onto more meat and being able to then feed. Hello, girl. You're just sneaking your face out from behind the tree. Hopefully, I'm hoping that the little one decides to come and play on the sand, because it will be so nice if she does. But there goes Thandi deeper in, which is exactly what I didn't want, because we're not going to be able to keep view of her as she goes, unfortunately. So that might be the end of it for us, I'm afraid. As she goes down into that thicket, there's really no way for me to get signal down in there, and so I'm not sure. We'll see. It does climb quite a bit in about 50 meters from where she is. So I'm going to just stick around and just see if she starts to climb up a little bit and go onto the other side of this drainage. Then I might just try and reposition and try and see if we can maybe get a view. But for now, that might be the last sighting that we have of the two of them for today. So I'm pretty sure they'll still be around tomorrow, but we'll just have to see how it goes. Good. While I try and kind of think about where I can position and try and see if we can get some signal, let's send you across to Taylor. But Nikki is actually feeding the link that I'm giving Taylor to me. So she's going to go to Taylor, and she's not going to go. So Nikki hasn't heard what she's saying. So, Nikki, you on the wrong radio before you go to Taylor, and she has no idea. Now you can go across to Taylor.
Well, it's a very interesting day on the bushwalk, that's for sure. Isn't that beautiful, that golden light? Last of it before the sun disappears, which means that we need to start making our way home. But before we get home, what we're trying to do is race the sun. Unfortunately, when you are on bushwalk, you don't have the sun on your side. Is that herd of elephants that we had are marching towards Vuyatela Dam, and we want to go as quick as possible to see if we can catch that breeding herd of elephants down at the dam. I don't know if they're there yet, if they've already gone down there, But that's sort of the plan this afternoon, is to keep on marching. We got very, 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 very lucky there with that whole situation, because it could have gone. It can get a little bit scary when you get caught in between big herds of elephants like that. And if they had been feeding in the drainage line, which they normally do, they don't come up in a straight line. You know, they could be feeding a couple of 100 meters apart. And that's where you don't want to get stuck. And that's why Rexon quickly pushed us to cover, to move out of the way. Luckily for us in that situation, it was the end of the herd. It was the back end of the herd. It wasn't sort of a break. And we think it could be maybe Fang's herd. That's what we're thinking, because they've been hanging around. So that's the sort of idea behind that. Not going to have much time left on bushwalk, I'm afraid. You have to really pick up the pace, but we also want to be careful though, because there are lots of animal pathways that are coming towards this way, going towards the watering hole. Now, you've obviously heard me talking about breeding herds. So Noriko, a breeding herd, is the name we give to a family of elephants. In a breeding herd, it's females, female dominant, so there's a matriarch, there's a leader of that herd, which will normally be the oldest and most experienced elephant. I'm just concentrating, as you can see, because it's very, very, very thick here. And should be actually listening to what's going on. But we're trying to beat the sun here. So that's basically what a breeding herd is. It's a group of females living together with their youngsters. The males don't stay with the herd. They sort of move out when they get to about 15, 16 years old. Sometimes they can stay in a bit longer. The females get sick of them. They get boisterous. They're trying to mate with the females, even though they're not allowed to yet. And they get pushed out. I'm going to check here, because again, lots of drainage lines, lots of main pathways coming out, leading directly towards the dam that we want to be careful of. And there could be anything standing around these thick corners like this, just feeding. So you really, really do have to be careful on a bushwalk, especially at a time like this. Okay. We haven't got far until we get to Vuyatela Dam. Hopefully we have beaten those elephants. I doubt it though, they're much quicker than us. But off we go to Tristan. He's managed to find Thandi again.
Well, we've still got her there, and the little cub is bouncing around actually behind her. So Thandi thinks that the cub is in front of her, but really the cub is behind her, throwing the scrub hair all over the place and kind of bounding around. Now, we have the smallest of small windows that we can see this female and her little one, and so hopefully they don't move too much, because if they move too much from here, we've got no chance. This is as far as I can get. We're right on the edge of this bank, and in fact, I've got a huge big stump in front of me that I can't get over, so it's about as good a view as we're going to be able to find, and if she moves from here, then we've almost got zero chance from there. But let's see, she's still contact calling. She's chuffing a little bit, so she's making that sound every now and then, and that's to basically try and call the cub back towards her and try and get the cub to sit. There's the cub bounding in the back, but I don't know if you're going to get it. Just to the back left of where you've there's a tambuti tree somewhere in that little area. The cub is bounding in the long grass, and only when it throws this carcass up can we see it. But let me just try something there. Hold on. And I think I might be able to get you guys a view of the little one. I just need to try. Come on, car, get windy. So, there we go. That's as far as I can get round, I'm afraid. And I don't know if it's far enough for VM to be able to see the cub. I don't think so. I'm going to have to do... I won't be able to move, unfortunately. I can just get Thandi, and that's it. So we'll just have to wait and see if we can get the cub to come... Well, if the cub will come back towards Mom, and then we'll see it. But for now, it's just Thandi, which is fine. It's perfect. It's still a spotted cat, which is still exciting and still amazing. So Cecilia, Thandi used to spend a lot of time around camp. She used to see her there a lot. Tlalamba, not so much, sort of used to spend more time in the drainage line south of camp, but she spent a lot of time walking around. Used to see her at Gallagher Pan, used to see her kind of walking between, well, where our cars park and all over those areas. But nowadays, no. Hukamuri spends so much time in that area. She doesn't seem to be spending time there, and Shadulu is also there so much that we're not seeing much of Thandi at all, I'm afraid, which is a bit sad. I was hoping that we would see Thandi a lot more than we have, unfortunately. It's a situation with Hukumuri around. She won't spend time around the camp for now. Once this little one, if she manages to raise it successfully, she's then will start to kind of move and come back. But she's going off now. There we go. That's, I think, going to be our last views of her, I'm afraid. As she kind of moves off, it's impossible for us to go any further than where we are right now. I'm just waiting to see if maybe the little one bounds off and kind of comes towards where Thandi is, but I don't see any sign at this stage, unfortunately. I don't know, we can try maybe one or two more places, try and see if we can get a view, but for now, that's, I think, going to be it. Well, we tried, and it was good, and it was amazing while it lasted, so it's very, very special. Even if we don't get another view, I think we've been very successful this afternoon with Thandi. Watching her carrying that scrub hair down the road was just so epic, so I'm pretty happy with that, and we did get to see little one. We got a little brief glimpse of it and little face, so let's try and just see, though. You never know, I might be able to wangle another view from up top here. I can see there's another kind of gap that faces towards that area, so I'm going to try and do that, but hopefully not going to get myself in the process. I'm just going to try and get myself around. Lots of moving around with this car today. Poor Wendy, probably sad that it got stopped for Jigger, because Jigger would have got this punishment instead this afternoon had Jigger decided to walk. Now, let's just try and see if we can just get around this corner, because if we get around this corner, theoretically, around this termite mound, I might be able to get one more view of her, or not maybe one more view, but at least a view of her. We just need to get back onto the road to get around a whole bunch of these buffalo thorns before they take half my leg and arm off. It's quite value, both of those, so if I can avoid being completely lacerated by a buffalo thorn, I'll go around. So we're going to try and sneak straight into the thicket and on top of the bank. Hopefully will allow us to keep signal. I'm not sure. We're going to just try our luck here. And it might be a situation where we lose signal, so I do apologize already on that regard. No, we have to... Sorry, Quarry Tree. I'm going to try and get over all of this, around this knobthorn. Careful there, Viam. It was hard work today. Now, theoretically, Viam, can you see anything through here? Straight there somewhere. So that's where I thought she might be, but I don't see any sign of her. Unfortunately, I might have a situation where we're just going to have to scan around a little bit. Let's just go forward. Thandi, are you there? And I'm trying to see where she could be, but I don't see her at all. So I think, unfortunately, she's just gone too far for us to be able to actually see from the top here. We might have to try and get another way around and try and see what else we can get. Good. I believe Brent has been off the cars tracking, and hopefully he's managed to have some success. But let's go across and find out.
Well, we've got Hasana's tracks. He's gone this way and he's turned around and come that way. While I was changing the tire, I heard some alarm calls of testiculars quite close to us. And I wonder if that wasn't Hasana just staring at us while we sweated away. Maybe let's check Mamba. Head down towards the Carcass, maybe. Maybe that's where he's heading. He's gone for a walk, hasn't found anything interesting. Let's go look at some hyenas. Maybe Hasana is thinking the same thing. Kathleen, hello. No, the elephant carcass is not finished, Kathleen. There will be a live cam on after drive. Unfortunately, it affects the drive if we have the Eddie carcass cam going at the same time. So as soon as drive is finished this evening, the carcass cam will be back up and running. It is not finished. No, it's not. There were still lots of hyenas and lots of vultures there when we were there earlier. Oh, I got a bug in my eye. Sorry. Here we go. So there the tracks for Fasana going that way, and then the tracks go in and then come back out this way. Okay, we're going to head west. I think Fasana might have cut through the block here, heading down towards the Mawati. While we do that, let's go see how Taylor's sunset looks from Vuyatela Dam.
At the moment, the sunset looks like a kudu, or a couple of kudus at least. So we've basically arrived at Vuyatela Dam, but sadly no sign of the elephant. So I think that they must have cut through the drainages and gone towards Gallagher Pan for fresh water. But you can see that kudu's definitely spotted us. She can hear us, and she can probably see us. But we're a fair distance away, so hopefully they don't panic too much. They're just carrying on. She's eating and moving around slowly, but not running off. That's good. So they feel relatively, as well. You can see how their whole body language sort of changes, the way that they turn and look at us, both ears focused on us, where we normally know when we're in the vehicles, a kudu may have one ear on us, but the other ear will be scanning around, trying to pick up any other sounds. All the ox pickers also moving around on her back. That was very cool. And the go-away birds. Just listening, we can hear the go-away birds shouting, but again, there's been many raptors around at the moment, so it could be for one of them. That's so cool. Hello, kudu. I feel like this is the best sighting we've had of a kudu. Normally we just see their backsides, like the warthogs disappearing. Another cow is also settling. I see something spooked them now. Now they're not so sure. Don't know if she's running away from us. You can just see the tip of the ear there. Look at that. That's amazing. Complete camouflage. Julie, I'm waving back at you. I don't know if you can see us. See? Look. Hi, Julie. Hi, Julie. Hello, everybody else who's watching Safari Live. Hello, hello, hello. See how I wave my weeping wattle around to swat the flies? Seb, do you need a fly swat off your leg? I hit him hard. Don't talk nonsense. Great fly swatter. This, and I was saying to Rexon now as we were coming down Gari Cut Line, I said to him, I was like, goodness gracious, there's always a lot of flies down that road. I kid you not. We just walked that stretch. We were attacked by midges, by these little biting flies, big flies trying to go up your nose and in your eyes. And then as soon as we moved off of it, and we were back on sort of Central and Vubu Road, nothing. All gone. Completely disappeared. Pretty amazing. But we're going to keep heading in this direction now because the sun is starting to disappear. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever seen the video of cyclists cycling down a pathway, going for a bush cycle. And I think it's either a Sabi or a hartebeest or something that comes galloping through and actually knocks the cyclist straight off of his bike. So yes, James, I would say a kudu could definitely pose a threat to us on bushwalk for a number of different reasons. If there's a big bull that's perhaps chasing after females, it wouldn't surprise me if we posed a threat to him and he turned around and chased us. Or if they got fright and were fleeing, you could quite easily get caught, not necessarily a stampede of kudu, because normally when they run they tend to go in opposite directions, but one could quite easily hit you when it's panicked, and that would be sore. That would be very sore, being hit by any animal, even an impala, even a deka running into you would hurt, I promise you. So all of these animals out here definitely pose a threat, just not in the way that you would think. They're not necessarily going to eat us, but they will also defend themselves if they have to, and that's why they've got horns, is that's their protection. So yeah, you've got to be very, very careful. Definitely have to be careful when you're on bushwalk for everything. I mean, I've had stallions snort at me and stand and sort of have a standoff. In the Mara, actually, I had to stamp my feet and clap my hands at a stallion because he got a bit cheeky with me, and I thought, right, let's not mess with him. So yeah, it does happen. A couple of people have been killed in the Eastern Cape of South Africa by wildebeest, by bulls. Got to be careful. Now I'm trying to think. Amber, you've got my brain working. I'm not sure if there's anything similar to sort of poison ivy out here. We've got stinging nettles, so I suppose when a stinging nettle touches you, you get a rash from it, kind of like poison ivy. But poison ivy's got this sort of heart-shaped leaf, so I'm trying to think. There are a couple of creepers that would sort of resemble it, but hasn't got any toxins that if you touch it, you're okay. Some of them got milky latex, which the African monarch butterflies feed on. There's actually some that's draped around the wooden fence near Final Control, in fact. And we often find the African monarch caterpillars on them, but you can touch them and they're alright. It's just if you obviously break it open, there's that milky latex. So something that's maybe going to give you a rash, if you're allergic to grasses like me, then all you have to do is just walk through it and you'll break out in a rash. Otherwise, keep away from the stinging nettles. Not particularly nice. Right, as I navigate this thick sand, Seb and I have been doing a lot of gym and lots of squats, so our legs are sore. We've both made a pact today, no bending down, because we're not going to be able to get up. On that happy note, off you go, back to Brent.
Well, we're going to head back towards the Carcass. The last tracks of Hosana were heading in this direction, but there we got some fat hyenas leaving the Carcass. So let's keep moving. Got some nice vultures framed in the sky there, Dave, with a lovely pink sky behind. Very pretty. Okay, let's go see if there's a leopard around Twin Dams, close to the Carcass. So, I know I've got a very strong stomach when it comes to smells and whatnot, and I was trying to think, who was on camera with me yesterday? I wasn't at the Carcass yesterday, no. I was in the morning. It was Tristan and Conrad and myself while we were setting up the cam. But Dave hasn't been there since?
No, I was there
yesterday afternoon or morning? Afternoon? Were you really? Very stinky. Dave says he doesn't have the strongest stomach. Or he says he's got a sensitive nose. So I'm going to try and put us in the smelliest spot as possible. And watch tears drop from Dave's eyes. Now, it's been quite interesting that we've had no lions on this elephant carcass, Stephen, not even the Avoca males. They are still to the east near the Manuleti boundary in Buffelshoek. And so no sign of the Avocas, no sign of the Birminghams. Oh, there we go. Hello, little one. Watching vultures. Better be careful if Hassan is around, because if there's anything like quarantine, one of the first jackal, that first jackal I saw here was actually killed by quarantine, male leopard. There we go. Now, we haven't seen much feeding sign on the elephant carcass from the cats. Djuma, one reason is when Hasana arrived there, he was quite full already. And I think he was more entertained. He was very, very full. And there's also a lot of competition around the carcass. Lions, the Nkumas, I think, didn't come here just in case they were disturbed, or that a carcass like this attracted the attentions of the Avoca males. So that's a possible reason why the lions didn't come here. Well, the lionesses. The male lions just weren't in the area. Both Birminghams and Avocas are just haven't been in the area. That is the only reason. Now, as I say, Hasana could very easily pop up here somewhere. Now, for those of you who are wanting to watch the Carcass camera after drive, just go look on our Facebook page. The link to the camera is there on our Facebook page. Now, we see a whole multitude of different animals daily, ruckus, ranging from elephants to buffalo to lion to leopard to hyena, and it's nearly impossible to say exactly how many animals we see daily, because sometimes we can see a herd of impala that's 150 or 200 strong, or a herd of 500 buffalo, so it just varies from day to day, but we always see animals. Now, we've got 1, 2, 3... Don't bite the vultures, hyenas. Hello, hyenas, yes. Is everyone calm down now? Now, actually, I'll move again a little bit later. I want to show you guys something absolutely fascinating. So, Tristan and I, now that we can see into the skull while we were here today, looking at, well, when we were putting up that camera and changing the camera, that elephant certainly died alive, and we'll show you why now. So when it hit the ground with such force, it actually broke its bottom jaw. So that elephant died standing up, and then completely careered into the ground, and with its right tusk burying very deep into the soil, and that caused the jaw to break. So still lots of hyenas here. A lot of the vultures are up in the trees now, roosting for the evening. But there's still a few that have arrived late to the party. Okay, I'm going to move into a position where I can show you that broken jaw. While we do that, let's send you back to Tristan and Thandi.
Well, we've managed to get ourselves onto the other side of the drainage and enough height to actually be able to see her. So that's really good news, and that we can spend hopefully the rest of the drive with her. Now, I can't see the little one anyway. I'm just looking around. She was bounding around in these long grass areas just to my right hand side. So this is the kind of last time I saw her, was in this thicket here, and she kind of moved around and she was playing and stuff. So I think she's somewhere in all of this. If Thandi's lying like this and is so relaxed, then the little one is close by and she knows where the little one is, and so we don't have to stress too much about it. She's probably just throwing her scrub hair about and having a really good time of it. Could even be in one of these trees, knowing this little cat likes to climb. And so maybe she's up in one of the trees by now already. But Thandi is looking ever so relaxed and super chilled about life. So she's in a fairly good mood today, which is excellent. She has not been at all feisty with us. She hasn't shown any sign of discomfort, which is really good news. Djuma, Tlalamba will probably be, I don't know, out of danger from Hukumuri when she's 2.5, 3 even, when she's able to kind of mate with him. So it's a very, very long way from where we are now. I mean, 2 is 2.5, should I say, is 2 years from now. So that's a long, long time. And the chances of her being okay in 2.5 years' time is, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be very difficult. She's going to have a really tough time of it. The thing is, though, is that we saw with Hosana and Shangila that they can survive from a year old, but whether Hukumuri will see her as a threat or not, I don't know, or as a potential kind of mating opportunity and leave her alone at a year old, I have no idea. It's going to be interesting to see. The problem is also you've got quarantine, you've got Hosana, you've got Tamba. There's a lot of different males around him. So for this one to survive, it's kind of odds are against it heavily at the moment. There's so many males in this area that's going to make it very difficult for her to be kind of okay and to move around. So I don't know, unless Thandi can find a spot where she can keep out of the way of the boys, and she's a very clever female, and she's able to kind of worm her way around. I mean, you've seen already, Hukumuri's come in here, and she's kind of almost had a sixth sense when it's come to him, because she's kind of hears him coming almost and just gone. You don't find her, you don't see her. She's very elusive in the way that she walks around, and also incredibly clever with the way that she walks on roads. You'll notice with her when she walks with the cub, and the cub is in tow, that she does not kind of walk down roads for long periods of time. She goes straight across a road, which makes it very difficult for hyenas and male leopards to be able to find her and to track her through the long grass. So it's going to be an interesting thing to kind of see how it goes. Now, it is getting dark. It is starting to kind of get into that dingy sort of dusk period, and that means Taylor Mac needs to go home. So let's jump across to her so she can just quickly say goodbye.
Bye-bye, Brent. I'm joking. There's an Inyala in the distance, making its way out into the middle of the open plains, where I think it will be a lot safer than standing in a very sort of thicketed area, although I think I'd rather check into Vuyatela Lodge. Hey, Seb, how do you feel about that? A nice cold apple juice is what an Inyala would love to have at Vuyatela camp, but it is not going there today, as there are guests in camp. I think. Are there guests? There are. Rexon is nodding his head, so there's no room for that in Yala, unfortunately. But what an eventful bushwalk it has been this afternoon. We've run out of water. It's been hot. We're dehydrated. We're dirty. We're sweaty. I've got bits of African wattle all over me from swatting away, and swatting Seb as well. Okay. Yeah, that wasn't delayed. And they say I'm the drama queen. I'm going to make you a crown. I'm going to get Casey to make you a crown, Seb. Casey's Seb's daughter. Well, we're going to go and rehydrate now, get nice and clean, get ready for dinner, and, pull all the grass seeds out of our socks as well. Well, that's what I'm going to have to be doing tonight. Lots of fun. Seb's going to have to put a Band-Aid on his cut because he's just walked into a broken piece of marula tree there. It's getting dark now, you couldn't even see that. Anyways, we'll see you out tomorrow morning. I'll be driving. Where I'll be driving to, I have no idea, but off we go. Back to Brent, and, well, good luck finding Hosana.
Well, we're hoping Hosana will just come to us. So we're back. Oof, squawky vultures. And some fat hyenas. Now, I've managed to get some of the trunk out from underneath the elephant where he fell. Now, what I wanted to show you, and unfortunately it's covered in vultures now. Let me just use my hand. See there, Dave? You can see how the bone is broken straight through, and there's no hyena who can do that. And directly underneath the vultures, hopefully a hyena chases them. There we go. You can just see where the piece that broke off. So that would have broken as that animal hit the ground with such massive force. So that's why we're 100% sure it died standing up and not lying down. There we go. That's how you deal with a vulture. Thank you, hyena. Let's go back to the jaw now. We can see it nice and clearly. You can see it's very out of place, and that hasn't been moved by the hyenas of the vultures. That has broken from when they hit the ground. Yeah, hyena did the job for us. So there's still quite a bit of meat left on the trunk and on some of the legs, but the majority is disappearing very quickly. Now you can see they've eaten some of the trunk, but not all of it, Paula. Paula, they will feed on the trunk, but they're going to eat on areas that are a bit easier to feed on first before they take the massive task of cutting through the skin of the trunk. Okay, here comes the naughty hyena that likes to chase vultures again. That one to the right, not that one. Oh, look at them. Now, depending on what is being researched, First Lady, yes, scientists and biologists will definitely study the carcass of an animal. It all just depends what they're researching. Okay, this is the hyena that likes to chase vultures coming in. Vultures seem to know it as well. Lots of bickering vultures up in the trees. You can hear them. There we go. So it likes to pretend, I'm not going to chase you, I'm not going to chase you, and spin around. There we go. Here we go. Here we go. Come on, get rid of the vultures. You can do it. Oh, quickly across to Tristan. Tlalamba is out and about.
Tlalamba is out and about and busy feasting, and actually if you sit very quietly, you can hear the little one crunching the small bones of the scrub hares. It's been a bad day for scrub hares all round by the sounds of things. Brent has maimed and cut off a foot after a warthog's had a go, and now this little one is tucking in as well. But I'm going to keep quiet so we can try and hear the little crunching of the bones. There we go, you can just hear it very faint. And also birds are making lots of noise, so the little one is just feasting away, and I think she's going to eat probably most of what's left there. I don't think or maybe she won't finish all of it, but she'll definitely eat a lot of that. And poor mom is probably not going to be left with too much. But look, she's got it in her mouth. I wonder if she's got that kind of instinct yet to tree this. It'll be interesting to see, because we know that she really treed her little scrub hare, and I wonder if this little one will take a scrub hare into the tree. The nice thing for these two is that they don't really have to stress too much about hyenas at the moment, because hyenas are so interested in that elephant and so full that the leopards are having a bit of a freebie for the next few days, is that they're able to kind of keep their kills probably a little bit more successfully than they would when there's no elephant around. So you can see we're in infrared, and that infrared light that we've just put on is because it's starting to get really dark, and I know it's difficult to make out this little one. You can just see how incredible. Excuse me, I've got a bit of grass seeds in my nose, but thank you, Nikki. You can see how well camouflage works and why we were struggling to find this little cub earlier in the day. It was just literally running around us. I kept finding tracks on top of our vehicle tracks, on top of my footprints, back and forth, and Franklin would alarm, then the next Franklin would alarm, squirrel, and then Nyala, and it was kind of just going around in circles. And that's the reason why, is that you literally just cannot see this little cub in this long grass. The camouflage is perfectly designed, and it's now feeding, and it's not worrying about us, so it's moving. But you can imagine when it's sitting dead still, not wanting to be seen, with its head tucked down, there is literally no chance that you'll spot this one. We're just lucky that Thandi so happened to bring a carcass to her and call her out, and that's why we managed to get some views of this little one this evening. So very special that we got it, and hopefully she'll grow a little bit so that we can see her through this long grass going forward in the future. But she really is starting to kind of develop, and such a little character, this cub. It amazes me how she picked up that carcass, and when she dragged it across the drainage line, she was just like Thandi in the way that she walked, kind of head up, proud, like, look at me, I've got this little scrub here, and it was walking just like mom would walk. So very, very cute as she kind of pranced around. And she also had that, that prancing kind of gait when a horses kind of gets a high gait. I don't even know what the term is, Taylor will know, when they get that sort of trot. And this little cub had the same thing, where the paws were being lifted extra high just to show off, with the head held high, and almost looked at us at one point as if to say, look what I'm doing, I'm carrying this whole scrub here across the drainage line. It was very, very cute to see. So amazing that we able to kind of spend time with her, and she's such a special little character that it's very, very cool that she's around. And it's amazing how Thandi just comes to the same places. She knows exactly where she needs to be in order to try and keep this cub safe, and she goes into these dense, thick areas, and she probably spends a lot more time on Djuma than we're even realizing at the moment. It's so dense and so thick in these sections that she likes to hang out in, that proves to be very difficult to find. If you didn't know she was here and you hadn't gotten tracks, it would have been almost impossible to get through and find her here. You would have struggled to have spotted her. Now somebody is just calling me on the radio, so I'm just going to quickly answer. Go ahead, Sharp. So it's just one of the landowners. No worries, Charles. Hopefully tomorrow will be better. So it was just one of the guys saying thank you for the Thandi sighting, but they didn't get much of. Unfortunately, they arrived a little bit later, and they didn't really get to see very nicely, either of them. So just saying, hopefully that they'll get some luck next time or tomorrow morning, when hopefully these two will be somewhere on a road, or maybe drinking some water, or somewhere out and about. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a situation where Brent will be on foot in this area, trying to track them down first thing tomorrow morning. I think Brent's walking tomorrow morning, or Brent or myself. But one of us will be here to try and track them down, and then see if we can maybe find them again in the morning. I don't think they're going to go too far, but you never know. It depends all on what happens during the night. Do lions start roaring? Do male leopards start walking in this area? That will all dictate as to how far Thandi will move from this section. But what I can guarantee you is that carcass will not be here tomorrow morning. This is a mere snack for these two, and they will literally devour every little bit of it in 2 seconds, and that will be the end of it, gone, and she'll kind of move off from here. She won't stick around where they ate, because there'll still be a scent, and there's still that instinct to move away from where she's finished her carcass in case hyenas do come. Even though the hyenas are pretty preoccupied, they will still come and investigate if they smell something dead. At the end of the day, maybe fresh meat is better than rotten elephant for a hyena as well. So we'll just have to see how it goes. It's going to be interesting though, but at least she's deep into Djuma at the moment, and right in the central part, which is really very nice to have her back in this area once again. Amazing camouflage though, it's absolutely unbelievable. So Inga, I believe you've just joined and you're not sure what's kind of happening here and what we're actually looking at. You can just see movement behind the grass. Well, Inga, if we just go to the left, I see Thandi's head is up, so we might be able to see her a little bit better. But basically, Inga, what's happened is we have a female leopard with her cub. So Thandi and her little one, and Thandi managed to grab a scrub hare while she was on her territorial patrol. There you can see the back of her head at the moment, and she then walked with the scrub hare all the way back, and they've met up now, and the little cub is actually feeding. So what we were seeing moving in the grass there was the little one just feeding on the scrub hare, and then this is Thandi just lying off to the side having a bit of a feed. And so it's been a really cool sighting. It's been amazing. We will kind of watch Thandi walking down the road with the scrub hare dangling from her mouth, and then joining up, and then the little one taking it. So it's been a very cool afternoon from that regard, and hopefully that you will enjoy it. Hopefully one of them will stand up, and that will get a situation where you'll be able to see them a little bit better than what we're seeing now. I know the view at the moment is not very good, and hopefully it will improve shortly, and maybe one of them will stand up or move, and we'll be able to get to see something. The problem with where they are is they're kind of blocking my escape route somewhat. It's so thick in here that it's going to be an interesting way to negotiate this in the night, but we'll try our very, very best. So, Jay Ruckus, I'm not sure if you are a new viewer, but you say this is very educational, but if you are a new viewer, welcome to our Safari Live, and welcome to the addiction, and hopefully you'll be with us and ask lots of questions. And if you are interested in things and you want to learn from us, we will try our very best to help you along the way. So if you have any questions, be sure to ask them, and remember, just use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or on YouTube chat, and we'll try and answer as many questions as you may have. Anyway, while we sit with these two and hope that one of them stands up, that we get a little bit of a better view, and hope that we kind of see what goes on, let's send you back across to Brent and find out what he's been up to. I don't know if he's still at the carcass, but either way, I'm sure he has something entertaining to tell you.
Well, we just off from the carcass. The hyenas started calling so nicely, so we just came to listen to those beautiful sounds. You can see the vultures silhouetted in that tree there. I'm just waiting for the hyenas to start. There we go, calling again. Favorite calls. I'm hoping we get some answers. What was that? Oh! That was good fun. I was hoping we might get some more audio. Now, when they do that proper whoop, they actually put their heads to the ground and they go whoop, and they use the ground as a speaker to amplify the sound. I'm just trying to listen now. Nope. Let's go see if we can find one of the hyenas. Now, as you can see, that carcass is disappearing quickly. Amy, the carcass will not be removed at all. The tusks will be removed, but the carcass will not. So what will happen is those bones will be utilized by all sorts of animals for a very long time to come. Porcupine, rodents, scrub hares, and even sometimes impala and inyala, lots of different animals will pick up little bits of bone or chew on the bigger bones to get calcium when they're lacking a bit of calcium. So that carcass will not be removed, and those bones will still serve a purpose for an incredibly long time to come. I was hoping we can find a hyena that's going to call in front of us so I can show you it going woo, woo. It's a beautiful evening. Oh, dearie, dearie me. Rambro, how many bones does an elephant have? Sure. A lot. I'm not sure the exact number of bones that an elephant has, to be honest, Rambro, because I'm not sure how many vertebrae they have, how many ribs, and also you've got to remember their feet. Even though they look like a big flat thing, the elephant's feet are actually like this, and their toes are like this, and so there's different bones in their toes, and inside here is cartilage that is a big shock absorber, and so it actually sits. So then they've got another thick layer of skin in the cartilage here, so it enables them to carry the weight. Oh, let me just turn around. That was a good one. Excited hyena. Let's see if we can hear it again. Come on. Serenade us, Howard. Now, you might hear me call hyenas Howard. It's just my nickname. All hyenas are Howard. Now they go quiet. Now, of course, that carcass is depositing a huge amount of nutrients back into the soil. So yes, Djuma, there will be some nutrient enrichment around that area that will aid plant growth, but only once in quite a long time, because of course all that activity of the vultures and the hyenas have scuffed up and removed quite a lot of the topsoil there. I thought you heard them about to start again. So yes, it will, but not for a while yet. But anything that dies adds nutrients back into the ecosystem. It is such a gorgeous night, and we've got the moon getting, well, what's it, waxing at the moment, getting bigger and bigger.
It doesn't do well in IR.
It doesn't do well in IR. Oh, this happened to Sebastian the other night, Dave. And he was like, I don't understand. And he took it out of IR and then put an ND filter.
We do that.
Let's try it. Let's try it. There we go. We're going to go out of IR. I'm going to whack an ND filter on. And then pop an ND filter or two, and we should start seeing the moon more clearly. There we go. Well done, Darvikins. So clever.
Yeah, it is.
So there we go. You can actually even see the craters in the moon. So isn't that nice? So not full moon yet, but it is getting quite large. And as I said, it is a beautiful evening. There's not a cloud in the sky. You can hear the last Franklin's making a noise. Fiery neck nightjar in the distance. Fork-tailed drongo. Oh, here comes hyena.
I'm going to go back to IR.
Okay, we're going back into IR, Nicola. And some hyenas walking towards us. To the right, Dad. So there. Zoom. A little bit to the left. There. There we go. Hello, Howard. Now, hyenas, lions, vultures will all absolutely glut themselves. Eat till they cannot eat anymore. But once they are truly, truly full, Carol, they can't eat anymore. Hyenas, in a lot of cases like that, will actually try stash some food. They will take pieces of meat away, hide it in puddles and water. You can see there's a bit of excitement. Oh, they found something smelly to roll in. Oh, look how lovely that looks. Oh, let's just roll. There's something smelly here. Although, I must say, hyenas always smell like a rotting elephant carcass. They are not pleasant on the nostrils. And they could be rolling in some form of dung. They could even be rolling in a piece of elephant stomach or whatnot that was pulled away. Should we try a little bit closer for your IR light, David?
Yes.
Now, someone out there is calling me a liar. Mark, Paul, this is live, and I'm not a liar, and those are hyenas, and this is happening right now, Mark. So, there we go. This is 100% live, Mark Hall. So now, Mark, you can stop calling me a liar. Looks like those hyenas are slowly heading back towards the carcass. Remember, after drive, you're going to be able to see what happens around that elephant carcass for the Carcass camera. And if you want to find out how to access that camera, and remember, only after the end of the safari, you can do so on just by going to our Safari Live Facebook page. There is a little bloggy, notey, thingy, mabobby jobby there that has the link in it. For those of you on Twitter, I also tweeted a link to that Carcass camera on Twitter. So if you look on my personal Twitter, there is a link there, and I'm sure there's a link on the Wild Earth Twitter. Nicola? I'm waiting to find out. Yes, there should be. So if you look around, you should definitely find access to that Carcass cam very easily. Okay, well, we've all had such a fantastic day, apart from having to change the odd tyre. So let's go to Tristan, who's going to say adieu for all of us here.
Well, indeed, Brent, and thank you to Brenty for really kind of being the center of the show this afternoon. I know that he's had to deal with us having a lot of issues, and so it's been nice to have him kind of looking after things, and hopefully he did a good job with all of you and that you all had a good time with him. And it's always appreciated when one of the guys takes up the reins when everybody else is struggling a little bit with signal and that kind of thing. So it doesn't go unnoticed from the rest of us. It's you know, when you're in that situation, you know what it's like when you do kind of long stints and the other guys are struggling a little bit. So thanks, Brenty. I'm glad that you were around and at least he had a good afternoon. But we have left Thandi and Little One because they went deeper into that thicket and we just couldn't, not in the dark, try and get in there. It was just really too hectic for us to actually even manage what was going on at all. So we had to leave them and let them carry on and move off towards the drainage. But it's that time of the day, unfortunately, where we're going to start heading back home. We're going to try and kind of get back to camp and have a little bit of a dinner and maybe an apple juice, given that it's been a rather hot day today. But I hope that you've all enjoyed the afternoons. Lots and lots of different things out here. So from Taylor, Brent, myself, all the cam ops, Nikki in Final Control, we've had an absolute epic afternoon, and we'll see you all tomorrow morning on the Sunrise Safari.